Spring is here, and with it, Mapline's been doing some of our own spring cleaning, and I, Nathaniel, am going to walk you through it. Let's dive in. First up, dynamic routes. You can now build routes straight from your data set. You click on the Add Data button and then down to Optimize Routes. This lets you build dynamic routes based on load times, frequencies, quantities, all of that type of stuff is now part of our dynamic routing. The data changes, the routes change, pretty cool. Next up, we've added some new formula options in our calculated columns. So I come to Add Data, Calculated Columns. Right here under Formulas, there's now a bunch of other options, including if error, if blank, is blank, and a couple others. Check it out. In addition to more if and is logics, we've also added some date logics in Mapline. Specifically in the Calculated Columns section, you can find first date of week, last date of week, first date of month, and so on. We've also added a lot of options for views. Views now have their own place on the homepage sidebar. You can add a new item, and that includes views. On the map, if I go to pins, I can add from my view library. And then finally, from a data set, I can click dependencies, add to, create a view straight from the data set page. So a lot more options with views. You can now also change the map through the URL. So I can have the URL zoom to a specific spot, an address, a city, state, or I can add a coverage circle around all of my pins. So if I come up here to the URL box and I put in search equals Chicago, Illinois, boom, just like that, zooms into Chicago. A lot more flexibility here now that you can put variables into the URL box. And finally, a couple of new shortcut options. If I have a chart or a report open in Mapline, I click the options, I can now change the source of that chart to a different data set in Mapline. That's number one. Number two is when I have a map open, I can click on a territory folder and view that data. That's pretty cool. And that's it for spring. If you want any information on these features, don't hesitate to reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you next month.